Welcome to today's Explainer. So glad you're here. If you're a focused learner looking to truly understand the actual mechanics of government power, and you want to skip the fluff, well, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're cracking open the fascinating blueprint of how modern democracies function, how they share power, and how they sometimes fight over it. We are going to decode the power game of federalism. Let's kick things off with a high-stakes, real-world scenario pulled straight from our practice papers. Imagine this. Tomorrow, the central government decides, out of nowhere, to issue entirely new currency notes. Boom. But a state government absolutely hates the idea and strongly opposes the move. The big question is, can that state government actually step in and stop the central government? Keep that in the back of your mind, because by the end of this explainer, you're going to know exactly how to answer it, and more importantly, why.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start by defining what federalism actually is, then look at the core features of a federation. After that, the two routes to federalism, followed by power sharing in India, and finally, the umpire, dispute resolution. Let's get to it.
Starting with Section 1, Defining Federalism. What exactly is it?
Okay, let's dive right into this essential contrast. Think of government power as a giant pie. In a unitary system, that pie is, hoarded. Either there's just one central government that eats the whole thing, or the smaller state governments only get whatever tiny crumbs the center decides to hand down. They're entirely subordinate. But a federal system? That is fundamentally different. In a federation, the power is divided. Both the central authority and the constituent units, like states or provinces, get a constitutionally guaranteed slice of that pie.
You can see how this textbook definition maps perfectly onto the real world. Look at how the distinct roles of the central and state governments are separated. In a true federal system, a state government isn't merely an administrative agent of the center. No way. It has its own powers, its own jurisdiction. Both of these levels enjoy independent power, and they answer directly to the people.
Now, you might be wondering, why does nailing this specific distinction matter so much? Well, because it's a frequently tested concept. Just look at this direct question from the 2024 CBSE board paper asking to contrast federal and unitary governments. It's a 3-mark question that hinges entirely on understanding that one dynamic: independent division of power versus subordinate administration. Grasping this simple contrast is literally your key to acing questions exactly like this one.
Moving right along to Section 2, Features of a Federation.
Any true federal system relies on a very strict checklist. First, you need 2 or more levels of government. Second, and this is absolutely crucial, they govern the same citizens but in separate jurisdictions, meaning distinct areas of control. Third, this authority has to be constitutionally guaranteed. It can't just be a casual promise. Fourth, the fundamental rules of the Constitution cannot be changed unilaterally by just one level. They require mutual consent. Fifth, independent courts act as umpires. Sixth, each level needs clearly specified revenue sources for financial autonomy. And seventh, it must serve a dual objective, safeguarding national unity while accommodating regional diversity.
Let's focus on that last point for a second. A federal system is driven by those dual objectives, unity and diversity. But honestly, the real glue holding this complex machine together isn't just the law. It's mutual trust and a shared agreement to live together. Without those two things, the entire system just falls apart.
Which brings us to Section 3, 2 routes to federalism. How do countries actually get there?
So, there are basically 2 primary routes. The first is coming together federalism. Imagine several independent states deciding, totally on their own, to pool their sovereignty and form a bigger, more secure unit. In this model, like the USA or Australia, the constituent states usually have equal power and are very strong compared to the federal government. The second route is holding together federalism. This happens when a large country decides to divide its power between constituent states and the national government just to maintain unity. India, Spain, and Belgium are prime examples here. In this setup, the central government tends to be more powerful, and states might not all have equal powers.
Let's apply this immediately to a board practice question asking to identify a coming together federation from a list. Because we know India, Belgium, and Spain all took the holding together route to manage their massive internal diversity, we can easily eliminate them and confidently select Australia as the correct answer. See how that works?
All right, Section 4, Power Sharing in India. Let's zoom in. The Indian Constitution brilliantly organizes power into a 3-fold distribution system. First up is the Union List.
These are matters of absolute national importance. Think defense, foreign affairs, currency, where we need a uniform policy across the whole country. Only the central government makes these laws. Then we have the state list, covering local importance, like police and agriculture, managed by state governments. Third is the concurrent list, covering shared interests like education and marriage. Both and make laws here, but, and this is a huge but, if their laws conflict, the central government's law prevails. Finally, for entirely new things that didn't even exist when the Constitution was written, like computer software, we have residuary subjects. Those fall entirely to the Union government.
Let's do a quick mental check with a match the column practice question. Take a second to mentally sort these. Police? That goes to the state list. Computer software? Residuary for sure. Defense is obviously Union, and adoption falls under concurrent. Being able to quickly categorize these subjects is absolutely essential for understanding how Indian governance operates day to day.
So, back to that crazy scenario from our opening hook, the one where a state government wanted to stop the center from issuing new currency notes? Well, because we now know that currency is strictly a Union list subject, the answer is a resounding no. The central government alone has the authority to make laws regarding currency to ensure a uniform economic policy across the entire nation. The state government literally just doesn't have the jurisdiction to block it.
Now, actually, let me add a slight twist here. In a holding together federation like India, power isn't always perfectly symmetrical. All states in the Indian Union do not have identical powers. States like Assam, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, and Mizoram actually enjoy a special status under Article 371 of the Constitution due to their unique social and historical circumstances. This is called asymmetric federalism, and it proves that sometimes to hold a diverse country together, you kind of have to treat different parts differently to protect indigenous rights and culture.
Finally, Section 5, the umpire. Dispute resolution. With all these overlapping lists, special statuses, and shared powers, conflicts are basically guaranteed. So what happens when the factions fight? Consider this direct multiple-choice question from a recent board paper. Who resolves disputes between the center and the states? Is it the Finance Commission, the President, the Prime Minister? Think back to our 7 key features.
The answer, of course, is the Supreme Court of India. The highest court acts as the ultimate umpire. In any dispute about the division of powers, it's the judiciary that steps in to interpret the Constitution and make a binding decision. Without an independent, powerful judiciary to oversee and enforce the rules, this entire delicate power-sharing arrangement would just descend into total chaos. The umpire ensures everyone plays by the constitutional rulebook.
We have covered a ton of ground today, from the basic definitions of power sharing to the complexities of India's 3 lists and the vital role of the Supreme Court. But I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder as you continue your studies. We discussed how India uses asymmetric federalism, granting special powers to certain states. So, in a system built on shared power, does giving some regions special treatment ultimately strengthen a country's unity by accommodating its diversity, or does it threaten that unity by creating an unequal playing field? It's a profound question right at the very heart of the power game. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking those great questions and keep learning.